I'm starting to rub my nipples now.
I mean, who isn't? Okay.
I mean, that's true.
I do it so much I chafe.
That must be a lot of friction.
Yeah. Burn, baby, burn.
Welcome to the Fathergamer Podcast.
Let me close up. I had some paint open. I didn't realize that
And
would
just-
be
All of a sudden you get high. Then I got high.
no
Then I
more
got high.
of me turning and moving and being covered in white paint afterwards. Tara got these cupcake. Okay, that's the thing about like once you take
Special
that
cupcakes.
the special cup. Now, once you take that deep dive into, I'm gonna make custom this or do dioramas or do any of that stuff, and you start getting on, watching YouTube and whatnot, and then you see, oh, they're using like the straws from Starbucks, or like they use stuff from everywhere. It's basically junk because you can use it. It's recycling. And it's perfect. Well, I've started looking at like everyday things. Like, okay, I'm gonna use, this for that or whatever. Tara had gotten these cupcake wrappers that go around the wrapper of a cupcake, which is just kind of like the pillows on top of your bed, that the decorative pillows, what's the point? But they have like webs on them. It's from Halloween, and I was just looking at it, and I was like, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm painstakingly using an X-Acto knife to get these spider patterns out, and then going in and basically making them pliable, almost like plastic, with how I'm painting them, and using this layer process that I learned, so I can do these, so I can make it look like Spider-Man shot a web and it went around someone's face.
Jizz.
Pretty much. But you know what I mean? Like when he shoots the web and it goes around the person's face.
Oh, he shoots the web.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But, it goes around the face and whatnot. And so I'm sitting there last night watching TV and painting all of these webs. And I just stopped about midway through going, what the hell am I doing? Like, why? This is the weirdest thing. And then I go back to painting. So I guess we should start the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fathergamer Podcast. I am your host, Eric Gibbs, also known in some circles as the Fathergamer. In other circles, I'm known as the Great Mighty Sex Machine. But that's enough. With us, we've got Kyle.
Well, hello.
And we've got Silverhawks Mike Petty.
Hello.
Wow, that was so
anticlimactic.
I'm a serial killer.
Yeah, you're supposed to not as chipper.
I wasn't as chipper that one.
No, that was like, hello, I'm here. So we are starting another season. Whew, we're back of the Fathergamer Podcast.
Are we yet though?
Yeah, we're back.
I mean, this is episode 99.
Yeah, but it is a new season because that's how we're doing it now. Is we're doing it segmented into seasons. It's still 99. We're not at 100 yet, but we're going to be kind of from here on out, kind of doing little
slightly different
segmented seasons. It's just easier that way. Life is throwing
Precious.
some. Crash, yes. It's throwing some new curveballs that are good, but are gonna keep me pretty busy. So
I guess it makes sense because it's part of a new year. So
yeah, and it's just I know you're very okay, whatever. But I think season because that way we can go, okay, we're gonna go away for now for a little while, after this season, and that way it just kind of feels like a natural thing. As we go along, we might change things here or there as far as format and whatnot, but I don't know. We keep saying that. If you go back and listen to older episodes, we're always like, oh, we're going to change this or do that. But you pretty much have the same layout as we've had for
A while.
99 episodes. So 98 episodes. So anyway, like I said, we are back. It's
From outer space.
from outer space,
too,
yes. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. We have a lot of nerd geek fandom talk to put into your ear holes. Go ahead, guys. Say whatever you got to say. And we are going to have a pretty good 2023, I think. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, coming.
Into the
It looks like the movie that I helped work on is finally getting released. We filmed it, and if listeners don't know, we actually filmed it. What, like 2 months before everything shut down?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like literally, right? I mean, I remember being on set and listening to like CNN or something while I was like putting something up, and them talking about Wuhan. So we were right in the shadow of what was about to happen.
Are you allowed to say the name of it?
Yeah, evil for dinner.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, because I know we've talked about it before.
No. I don't have an exact date yet, but I talked to Travis, the director, last week, and it looks like we're nearing it finally coming out. So when it does, we'll do the whole premiere thing and whatnot. And there's a lot of interviews that I've been sitting on that will be coming out. So like Lloyd Kaufman interviews, and I'm going to try to get Lloyd to maybe even like do a newer interview, a little longer one. And in case listeners don't know, Lloyd Kaufman is the guy who created Trauma Films and Toxic Avenger and all that. He's an amazing guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Just a wealth of cinema knowledge, but just a very awesome guy. Of course, we'll have Travis back on to talk about the movie and everything that's gone on from, slightly before we filmed it to the filming process to the last 3 years of the, what it's like to try to make an independent movie and get it out during this time. It's crazy. It was just absolutely phenomenally crazy time to do something like that. So
and props to all the TV shows and movies out there that have had to go through
oh my god,
dude. That has been involved in that stuff.
I have a lot of I've been lucky enough, and there is a new segment that I'm adding on to the show, because I've had a lot of people over the years tell me I need to tell some of my stories of stuff that has happened, my Forrest Gumping of life. And I've been very lucky enough to meet some very creative people that work in various creative endeavors. And I know a lot of people that have been working on movies and TV shows during this time, and it sounded like
hell.
Like hell, yeah, it did. It sounded horrendous. Absolute props to everyone that just, but we've gotten some great content. We've gotten some great movies. Some, I heard a really insightful interview with Brendan Fraser, who has a movie coming out, or it's out, called The Whale, where he plays a 600-pound man, and he, I think Aronofsky is the director. He was saying that they were filming right at the height of all this, and they would have to rehearse everything very almost like a play, and did a lot of filming really far apart and almost by themselves a lot. So there was a lot of change on how things get filmed, but also look at what happened to the work environment. I mean, so many people are working from home now. And just Jade working at home. It's just crazy. I know in the gaming industry, I know of a lot of companies that are like, just like, okay, we're just going to stay with this. This is just easy. We'll just
cheaper.
come in. It's cheaper too. Unfortunately, though, you're also looking at the restructuring and everything from a lot of the tech companies. I mean, if you look, Google just laid off a bunch of people. And shoot, I think I was talking to a friend. We figured out there were at least like 35 to 40,000 tech jobs lost in like a week span.
Wow.
That's just crazy. But yeah, we have definitely, everything has changed since the pandemic, and we will definitely be taking a deep dive and talking to people this season. That'll be one of the focuses is talking to people about how they've changed and pivoted and picked themselves up and done what they could to get their art out. So that'll be really interesting to talk to people about that. Other thing we're going to be talking about a lot this season, of course, because it is the Fathergamer Podcast, we're going to talk a lot about games, video games specifically. There is a lot of we're in the beginning of second Christmas.
Yeah, we are
gaming, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about over the next several months that I'm looking forward to, including a certain Hogwarts game.
Hogwarts, yeah.
We've got a Star Wars game. We've got a ton of other stuff. So we'll be.
Which game?
Star Wars. Jedi Survivor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that comes out next month.
March.
Yeah. I mean, heck, we've got a Yakuza game coming out. It is chock-a-block for the next.
I am loaded with stuff.
I already am, and I'm so far behind because
I know, right?
Mike and I will talk about because we've both been playing exactly the same 2 games for like
a while now.
6 weeks probably.
Yeah, it's been since launch.
Yeah, it's crazy that I would not have thought, but we'll be talking about Marvel Midnight Suns and Fortnite and whatever Mr. Kyle has been playing. And,
oh boy, I have a list.
We'll also be talking a little news, but not a heck of a lot, because we're kind of getting we have our training wheels on at the beginning of this season, and then we've got a few TV and movie things, and we're going to be talking about comics. That's a new thing that we're going to be talking a little more about. Mike and I have read the first issue of the new spin-off, as it were, to the Last Ronin comic series, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, which was probably one of my favorite comic books of 2020, and in my top 10 favorite stories now. I absolutely love that thing. So we'll talk about that in this episode. We'll also talk about The Last of Us.
Hell yeah, we will.
And a few other things. And again, we have a little story time with Fathergamer. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and get ready
Rub
for
your nipples. Oh, yeah.
Make sure you use Vaseline on another episode of the Fathergamer Podcast. So let's go into. I have to look at my notes because it's been a little while. We are going to go into, I guess, what's in your system. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
What's in your system?
I mean, I won't say no.
So I'm just going to go ahead and pull off the Marvel Band-Aid right now, and let's go ahead and talk about Midnight Suns. Kyle, have you played Midnight Suns at all?
I have not.
Okay. So we'll be able to kind of give you the info on it. I'm sure you've seen a lot, but Midnight Suns is it's an RPG.
Very much so.
So if you don't know, it's made by Firaxis Games. They did XCOM, and it's a strategy RPG
Also
set
did
in
Civilization.
Civ. Yeah, and you can tell you can tell with this game there's a lot of ideas going on. There is a lot of ideas going on in this game, and it's not one thing specifically, but it is set in a Marvel universe where very much in the magical realm of that universe. So you've got characters like Ghost Rider and Scarlet Witch and Wolverine and on Captain America, on and on and on and on. And through a course of events, you all get kind of thrown in a house together, sort of like the real world. And and this
shout out to the old school MTV show.
This big freaking giant Marvel story about demons and hell and just epic. The end of civilization at times turns into, well, what kind of present can you give Wolverine to make him happy?
Which I know exactly what that is, so we'll get that later.
So that he'll hang out with you and be your best friend. It's so weird with that. It's like 1 minute it is this really detailed. It is card based, but it really feels more like the old school JRPG, Final Fantasy turn based. Yes, they're cards, but it's pretty much like picking your action.
It's
what
the
you're
attack
going
modes,
to do.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you can level those up and all this. But the main thing is going in, story, then you do a little time hanging out with the rest of your Marvel friends who you get to make your own character, your bros, and you get to make your own character, which is kind of cool. The name of the character is Hunter, and you can be a male or female, and that a little custom. It's kind of funny though. I made my character. I was like, oh, he kind of looks like me. And then I go online and see a ton of people have pretty much made the same character. So I was a little like, damn, oh well. But you get to make a custom character for pretty much. And
I can tell you mine does not look like me whatsoever.
No. and you get to kind of do the Mass Effect thing where, good or bad decisions, and you can be good or I don't know how evil, because I'm playing it almost saintly at this point.
Same.
It's
deliciously evil.
Deliciously evil, which you can get horns and stuff, so you literally could be a demon.
I mean, even as quote the saint, I have horns. I unlocked them, so.
And they're so you have, like I said, this giant RPG story, which is really fun. And I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then you have a room in the Abbey, which is the sanctuary that all of you heroes are kind of hiding out in. And it's got this massive grounds around the Abbey. And you can explore the grounds. So it's not just story, go straight into a turn-based situation, story, turn-based situation. It's literal. You get to explore, you get to walk around and all that kind of stuff. Just when you get to action, it's not real time. It's just turn-based. But like I said, you can explore, unlock new areas. Last night, I literally spent an entire night just exploring the grounds. I hadn't done that yet. And I just did it last night. And like I said, it was an entire night of play. And it was fun. It was nifty puzzles, great story, all that kind of stuff. And then you can do picture mode, which I posted this on my Twitter. You can do photo mode, And the photos that you take within the in-game photos, you can turn them into canvas paintings and put them throughout the Abbey. It's a giant mansion type thing. And my best friend right now in the entire game is Peter Parker. And I put the creepiest fucking picture I could of like my character's eyes almost like bleeding red and looking down on his bed. And so anytime you walk in the room or there's a cutscene in his room, there's that painting right behind it. It's the creepiest thing. But I mean, like I said, you give presents, you do all this kind of stuff, and it's very much Animal Crossing at that point. And then there's this whole thing about sending off characters, which I'm pretty sure they did that in XCOM, if I remember correctly. You can train up characters and send them off. And the more you deal with each character, the more you become friends with each character, you unlock certain perks. And you even have a demon dog that you can pet. And if you play the game, make sure you pet it every day. And you get unlocks with that as well. It's just...
Well, that and also the cat.
The cat, too, if you run into a cat. There's just, every time I turn around, and I've been playing this thing almost since launch, every time I turn around, there's something new to do. The only thing that I have a problem with is the way the mechanics of doing missions is on a in-game day and night basis. So what you do, you wake up in your bed, you go do a couple things around the grounds, talk to people, go open up certain chests that like regenerate randomly throughout the in-game week, and then you can go do one mission.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the mission's over, it's nighttime, and there might be one or two things you can do, and then your character has to go to bed. You have to basically rinse and repeat. And then every so often there'll be some like other mission that'll pop up as far as the story goes and stuff. And I wish they would just let you do like back-to-back missions, like just stay in the mission cycle. Do you get like the non-story missions? I wish they would just say, okay, do you want to do another mission?
The reason behind them doing that, though, is because other things will regenerate within those days as well. So, like, you can pick up little essences you can pick up, like, an essence of coins. You can pick up skill essences, battle,
I
things
get
like
it.
that.
But
and then also you can go to a certain area of the ground and you can offer an offering to the gods within that same time frame. But it has to be done at night to be able to do that. So they phase it where there's regular like one-off missions within the day, quote the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get through all of those if you want to. And then you can do one of the story missions if you want. Like, so you gain a lot of XP doing these other things, including
but it won't let you do more than one mission.
It won't let you do one mission at a go, and I've been okay with that.
See, the thing is, and I do like and sorry, Kyle, you're not getting to talk here, but
I'm chilling.
The only thing I don't like about that though is, and I do like the whole idea of basically, especially us where we're busy as during the day or during the week. So it's nice to play like a mission, do the night stuff, do a couple of those and go to bed. That's nice. But at the same time, when I'm really like, I would really love to go, okay, there's like 6 missions in New York I can do that aren't part of the story. I wish it would just give me the option, kind of like when we're playing Fortnite, give me the option to play at least a couple more of those.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't go against the story missions, though. So it doesn't affect the, quote, days towards the story mission.
No,
completely
it just doesn't
independent.
Let you do it again. Yeah. That's the only problem that I don't like.
Yeah.
Because what I have to do is I have to basically take the time to go back into bed and go back to... They have a table, Kyle, that you go to choose the missions that you're going to do. But again, there is so much stuff, and we literally could talk about it forever.
Mhm.
The only thing that we'll probably talk about it again on the next episode is the first DLC came out.
Mhm.
I haven't got it yet.
I have,
I've
but I haven't
purposely
played it yet.
kind of taken my time. I don't think I'm quite near the end yet, and so I'm
You're
going to go
far
ahead.
from the end, probably, because
And
I
I'm
still
going
haven't gotten there yet.
I'm going to get the DLC, and the first DLC is the man himself, freaking Deadpool, and which it's amazing. I know you weren't a big fan of the clip, the voice,
The voice
but
actor, yeah.
oh no, it's Nathan Drake. It's
Nice.
what's his
okay.
name doing it. He's been doing it for Nolan North.
Yeah.
He's been doing it, Deadpool's voice for like over a decade that I know of. He did it in
Mhm.
was it Marvel vs. Capcom he was in?
Okay.
He did it in his own game, in the Deadpool game,
Mhm.
and a few other places. So I mean, he can
That's
do
cool.
it. He even did Deadpool in the animated Deadpool thing they did a while back.
Yeah, I'm sure that the actual gameplay will be tons better than the little video clip that they put out.
Yeah, it and the cool thing is when you're, and I want to end off this part of this game. One of the cool things that I really loved about the game, as somebody who's really into comic lore and the stories behind a lot of these characters, they go very deep into the origins of these characters, and you get to really learn the origins of a lot of these of the characters. You've got like Nico from Runaways and Blade. I love the fact that they go pretty deep on a lot of Blade stories. Probably the least fleshed out of those characters, at least for me, is Captain America. Like,
Yeah, I
they
can
don't-
see that.
they don't really do much with him other than he's Captain America.
He was frozen. He's here. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. The tactics, though, you get to learn who you really like, and you get to pick when you go into battle. You pick 3 people to go into battle. Usually, you pick yourself. Sometimes the mission requires you take a certain other person. So a lot of times you're getting to pick one one person, and you get to where you like to fight with that particular person.
You also notice that some characters are weaker than others, so you kind of tend towards the higher level people, anyways.
Well,
the people that have better, stuff.
See, what I do though is I go, okay, that person is weaker. Why are they weaker? Oh, they're not really weaker. They're just a different play style than I'm used to.
Right.
Because Nico to me felt weak as hell.
Oh yeah.
And then once I learned, okay, plus she has chaos magic, and it's very, or her magic's like not very predictable sometimes. Scarlet Witch took me a little while to get used to.
Nico's restore magic is good though. I have used that a lot.
Yeah, and but usually usually I'll pick Spider-Man and then somebody that can just lay waste, like Iron Man.
I'm just kidding. He's not in that
Pretty
game.
much. Iron Man is like the air superiority thing he has. He can friggin' like take out an entire area.
Iron Man is amazing at that.
And it is really cool, like how each character plays. They definitely took a look at like the character, who the character is, and how they would fight. They even have these things as you level up your friendship. Once you get to your like BFF level 5.
Level 5. The initial
you
level 5.
unlock a challenge for that character, which some of them are very hard to figure out, but they're these puzzle challenge
a tutorial for all of them.
Fight things, and you unlock the Midnight Sun suit, which is like the suit that you see in the advertisements, like the gold and whatnot, and
with the runes on it, yeah.
And like Captain America has fire coming out of his shield, and Iron Man's got fire. Like it's supposed to be like Hellfire or something, almost like the gun that the old Ghost Rider has, the shotgun.
Johnny Cage, or Johnny Blaze, rather. Sorry,
Johnny Blaze. But anyway, I really enjoy the game. We'll talk about the DLC on the next episode, so we should probably move on.
Yeah.
I would also highly, if any of this sounds interesting to you, pick it up. One, because I really want this game to get a sequel. I really want this game to get a sequel. I could see, especially with this company, where they could very easily listen to people's critiques and add where they need to and take away where they need to. So a sequel would be fantastic. And there is a shitload of characters. Plus, the characters they have in this house, I would not have expected half of them to be in the same game. And I was sitting back though I think it was yesterday, and just thinking, oh my God, guys, we have some of the best comic book video games of all time now. Like, it's just amazing that are out there. And the fact that we've gotten to play, everything from Miss Marvel to freaking Nico from Runaways in a game now is so crazy. I would have not expected that a decade ago. Like, when Arkham Asylum came out, that was like the highlight of comic book games.
Hell yeah, it was.
Now, I'm going to kind of roll for just a second, pivot before we go to another game. I did play a little bit of Gotham Knights. I did enjoy it. I think you got that, Kyle, did you not?
I didn't. I waited. So specifically why I waited was because, the hype, the information that was coming out is like, it's okay and things like that. And at the time, I was like, I don't know if I want to drop $70 for something.
No kidding.
Right now.
No kidding. That is
I'd rather wait till it was like 30.
But did you get it?
No, I did not. Not yet.
Oh, okay. I thought you had gotten it, so we won't talk about that other than the fact that I did play it for a solid week. I do have a copy, so if any of y'all get it, I will say this. I did very much enjoy the story of the stuff I played in it, but I'm kind of dying to play with somebody. Like, I kind of feel like that might be another one of those Sniper Elite kind of, playing golf with your buddies kind of thing. Where you're like,
we still need to get back into that, by the way.
Huh?
We still need to get back into that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of games. Well, we need to play Ghostbusters again. They have new DLC that came out, real Ghostbuster stuff, and they've been adding new areas constantly. So we need to, we're good buddies with those guys anyway. We need to go in there and play that. So, but anyway, let's go to something Kyle's has been playing, and then we'll go to Fortnite. So, what have you been playing?
Oh boy, where do I begin? Oh gosh, it's a list here. It's actually a couple things here and there. Outside of last year, the way that the year kind of ended up, I destroyed God of War. That game is incredible. I could not stop playing that game.
So pretty.
It was like phenomenal.
The new God of War.
God of War Ragnarok. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah. I 100%. I platinumed that game. There was no stopping me. I went in there, beat everything, slapped some stuff here and there. If you haven't played it, I would love to describe it. I don't want to describe it because I don't want to ruin anything for the listeners if you haven't played it, because literally that is a cinematic masterpiece of a video game.
It is. I haven't finished it yet. It came out literally, I think, on my birthday, and I got it and Pokemon. Thank you, Kyle. For my birthday, and I have God of War is exhausting, like in a good way. It's just so beautiful, but it's exhausting. the story is just rough. Like from the beginning, it's rough.
Yeah, it's insanely good. Like,
yeah,
just shit hits the fan left and right, and like when you think something can't top one thing, it just continues to top others. So I mean, like, it is phenomenal. They need to keep doing a good job with that series. It is incredible.
But wait, there's
100%. But
I haven't finished it, so I do have a question. Does it feel automatically like, okay, another one's coming? Or, I mean, we know there is, but does it leave it that way?
So it leaves it off in a, like, let's say the best way to describe is kind of like another God of War 3 situation, where it just like moves on, where you know there's going to be something down the line. But it was done very well in terms of the ending for it.
Okay, I was just curious because I mean, I know we have, especially in fandom, we have a bad sometimes penchant where we feel like we have to have a trilogy, and not everything has to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
But I kind of figured they want a trilogy before they move on to whatever else they're going to move on. But just to say on God of War, we're getting an Amazon, I think, God of War TV series. So,
oh gosh, for please, all heaven and holy, don't fuck that up.
you know,
if that's true.
If you told me 5 years ago that was going to happen, I'd be like, well, that'll be an interesting pilot episode, and then I'll never watch it again. Which is not true. I probably still would, but I have a lot of faith. Amazon does fairly decent as well, so we'll see.
Yep.
I just need a lot of brooding and people getting eviscerated, and
I mean, they did well with The Tick.
Yeah,
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
I mean, it's comedy, but yeah.
I mean,
it is, but
yeah,
Kratos is like the embodiment of rage.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Like it's gonna have to be violent. It's gonna have to be. Except like it all depends.
I don't think Amazon has any problem.
They're not gonna have.
Well, no. I mean, they have The Boys. So let me just say, it depends on where they start, and I would assume they would start with mythology. If they don't, it's gonna be a little interesting. If they go straight to the Norse.
I've heard it's starting with the newer games like that.
So if it's gonna do the Norse, that's fine, because it's its own thing with just some backlog history within the last.
It's just Kratos in modern times.
That would be pretty funny.
I hate everything. He works at Starbucks,
right?
Just he can't spell anyone's names. Oh my god, that would be great. Every time someone goes to get their cup.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like the show Devil is a Part-Timer.
Yeah. They go to get They go to get their cup, and they're like, "This isn't my name," and it's like in Greek, and he's like,
"Every name is boy."
Boy.
Boy.
Oh no!
Your thing's up.
Oh no! Why did you mention the boy? So
I still haven't finished the first game, so
so good.
I recommend Mike, if the story, I mean, if the gameplay has you, just play it on easy.
Yeah,
the story is just
well written.
I mean, I wouldn't even have a problem with me playing it on easy if I had to, but it's such a good story.
Yeah. But
speaking of going back, just for a second, did any of you guys download the PS5 upgrade for Witcher?
Yes. 100%.
It is beautiful, but I did exactly what I do every damn time with that game. I get about 2 hours in and then move on. And I love that game, and I've beaten it once, but I don't think I'll ever do it again.
Oh, I've beaten it 5 times. So let's just say, like, I play the shit out of that series.
Oh, I did too. It's just, I think I played it very slow, almost like I'm doing with Midnight. But oh my god, that game is so pretty.
I'm assisting a coworker who's playing through it. She loves that series too, and I'm teaching her things that she never knew about it.
It's so just, again, another one of those games where you really you learn so much as you're playing. Like you feel like you got a PhD in Witcher by the time you're done with the game. Like it's so great.
That's
so what else you've been playing? What else is in your system, buddy?
So now we're gonna move to the Switch because you already mentioned Pokemon, and I have been hella dabbling in Pokemon because they've been doing the raids every month, and I have captured all 3. I have Charizard, I've caught Cinderace, and then I just today caught Greninja.
Oh, cool.
So
nice.
They are super fun. They are hella difficult, and you have to go in with the right frickin' Pokemon. I'm talking to everyone who likes to choose a dragon when there's an ice typing in there. You just immediately back out and find another one.
Can you go with friends? Can you?
Yeah.
Raid with friends?
Absolutely. So the thing that's nice about it is, yes, you can do it with friends, and you can, via a link code, and you can saddle up. The only thing is that's kind of a downside to it is once you set that link code, you can't get like other random people included. It's set to the link code. So they'll give you 2, like say if you and I did it, they'll give you 2 random NPC characters, which they don't count against your time if they die. They'll like sling, attacks and stuff here for you. It's just like you won't get the full firepower of what can be. Like, for example, against Cinderace, I used a Slowbro with and pretty much the strategy for that is you pretty much use Iron Defense 3 times and then Nasty Plot 3 times, buffing your special defense or your defense in general, and then your special attack, and then you just swing away with stored power, which is buffed on however many times you buffed yourself, and you pretty much can just halfway shot a freaking.
That's funny enough. That's kind of how Midnight Suns works.
Yeah,
to be honest, pretty much. Yeah,
it's so fun. But it can definitely be challenging, and they're definitely rewarding to do, because if the more you do of them, the more rare candies you can get. You can get the XP, like large XPs, extra large.
I need to jump back in. I enjoyed that game, but I'm one of the people that ran into. Like, I was like, I'm having no glitches. What is everybody talking about?
And then it's hit.
Oh my god, why is my person falling through the ground? Oh my god, why did it just freeze on me? Oh my, like, it's
the biggest issue.
And so, like, I caught something that I'd worked really hard to get, and it freaking froze and then rebooted, and I lost it, and that's the last time I've touched it.
Yeah.
So I need to, but I did enjoy the game. Like, it's not a bad game. It's just
it had some technical issues
at the beginning. Yeah, they should have released it probably about now or March. That's probably what they should have done.
Well, but at least it wasn't as bad as a YouTuber that was using fish to play the game. The game crashed, and then the fish purchased in-game content through the app, through the Switch store.
Interesting. Never heard of that, but
So what?
Wouldn't put it past weird stuff.
What else are you? Anything else you playing?
Oh, I have 2 more on the list here. Continuing with the Switch, I had purchased Fire Emblem Engage, and that game is incredible. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking good for a turn-based RPG. Like, their combat system and their engage system. Oh my, it's one of the best introduction to the series.
I'm so glad that
is it that
series 1 is successful enough over here to get almost all of the games, because I remember playing Smash Brothers and being like, who are these characters? And forever never getting any characters in none of those games. And now we get one or two a year. So it's
Is it a prequel or sequel?
Awesome.
No, this one's just a new entry within the series, so they're all kind of
so
like themselves. But with what's going on in Engage, you get these power rings, and there's 12 of them that have heroes of old legend or whatnot, but they're like of alternate universes or something like that, and you get to use them, and you can level up your bonds with them, giving yourself inheritable skills that they know and whatnot. So, like, Marth, which is the one you start with, is really good, especially for sword combat. So he pairs really well with your main character, unless you decide to change. I don't know why you would, but I totally get it, because his level up, the Divine Dragon, or her, because you can of course choose who you'd like to be, is just a really good class to use in general. And then there are some that use status effects, like Roy is another one that you'll grab, and his special engage attack will set the ground on fire. So if there's like a bunch of enemy troops in this area, well, now you've set the ground on fire, so they're inherently going to take damage for like a turn or two. And before they even battle you, and you already have like an advantage. So it is like the engage system is so cool. Also, when you engage, your character changes in general. So not gonna lie, you're gonna come out looking like the Stardust Dragon from like Yu-Gi-Oh, and like the armor's swapped. They're so cool. Your skills like upgrade, like you just become an overall like badass in general for that. And some of them, like for moves like Sigurd's, he'll shoot a ray out of his lance, and as that ray goes, you actually thrust through it as well, and you'll end up on the other side of the enemies. So you can hit a line of them and end up on the other side and still be able to move if you're like a horse unit or anything like that, depending on the skill base. It is so good, but boy does it get hard later in the games if you're not prepared for it.
That's that series in general, though. I mean, I've almost never had a Fire Emblem game that doesn't hit this weird of like, okay, I got this. Okay, what the fuck just happened? Like, it's just almost every game I've ever played in that
That's
series.
with me sometimes with Midnight Suns.
Well, yeah, Midnight Suns had a brief change, especially in a couple of new situations where new bad guys get introduced. But what's the next game that you've been playing, and then we'll go into Fortnite.
My last one I've been playing is probably one of the best remakes that have been made since the dawn of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Ooh, that's a big flag in the ground statement. What is this?
It is Dead Space. It is incredible.
I'm really, really sad that I can't get it right now, but it looks phenomenal, and I love.
Oh my gosh!
Mike and I actually had a discussion about that game last night, I believe, while we were playing Fortnite. Which, by the way, just a little tie-in. They released a skin in Fortnite.
Isaac Clarke's.
Yeah, so
it's $12, but you can get it, and it gives you like an emote and stuff.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. It's just
it's what I would say on it is what I kind of hoped Callisto Protocol would be. Like, I know it did fine, but Dead Space, the remake, hits the itch. Yes, it's a remake of the one from 2008, but the graphical capability from then to now, to be fair, it's an insane jump.
Yeah. Is it a ground up remake? Okay. Sometimes it's just look at Resident Evil 2. That was almost an entirely different game. It's how we remembered, when we've talked about this a lot on the show, the best way to quote remake something is to make something what you remember it being like, and didn't realize how shitty the graphics and everywhere were at the time. They were fantastic, but comparative to now, oh my god, If you can do that, if you can successfully graft that emotion, those feelings into a modern candy-coated shell, that's a fantastic remake.
Let me just put into perspective on how this, within the first 20 minutes, by the way, they actually, like, yes, from the ground up, like we mentioned, they gave Isaac Clarke a voice, so they did add that. That is new. He actually will communicate and that did not happen in the original, if I remember correctly. Like? Oh gosh, I can't remember who plays him, but it's pretty darn good. Like the person, no, it's not that. But as soon as you walk onto the Ishimura, like you realize, oh yeah, this game is gonna it's gonna smack right off the bat, because of course they ask you, hey, adjust your brightness to the. Make sure the one to the farthest to the left is barely visible.
Right, you mean the fuck no setting? Yeah.
Yeah. Let me tell you, this game, like, if I remember correctly, like, this game is way darker now than it was back then, because
it was pretty dark back then, but they couldn't pull off with the graphics and the TVs at the time. They couldn't pull off quite as dark as they can now.
Let me tell you, it is a night. Like, I would love to say it's a night and day difference, because reason being is when you get to this once, no joke, the first Dead Space, it had its moments, but I wasn't ever terrified or anything like that. I almost shit myself like 6 times. Like no joke, and this was in the first 20 minutes, and I had completely forgotten some of these things, or they added some new stuff. By the way, they added.
That's high praise for you, dude, because you're
I'm a horror person.
Yeah, you love scary games. Like you absolutely.
You go through Resident Evil and laugh.
I'm purchasing gosh damn Resident Evil 4 day one. No joke. Like that's happening.
So, yeah.
And to add to this, I haven't
eaten the last one. I feel so bad. It's so good, but I
just have... Oh, it was so good. But I'm in a portion where I'm having to, this I remember correctly, like, is you had to remove a broken tram and replace it with a new car.
Okay, I remember that.
And one of the sections was after you remove the broken car, you had to get like something to, pretty much get it working. You had to get the systems back online.
Right.
It is a massive room, and when you go around, you actually have to divert power from the lights to open one of the doors. It goes pitch ass black. Like this is the darkest I've ever seen in terms of a game, like for a night mode that I can like remember. And by the way, they made these necromorphs way quieter. They will sneak up on you, and you will not notice until they're trying to take a swipe at your back, and then you're like, get the fuck out of there.
It's dynamic lighting how it is too, and there's so many, even back in the day on when the original game was released, there were so many little lights, little plussed up little lights and things going on that it felt, weirdly enough, felt more alive, some of the places. And I just remember being so grimy and wet and steamy, and like it just had I hate using this term, but it had this weird visceral sort of thing to it that I can't imagine with how graphics are right now and how bloody fantastic we are with dynamic lighting already. I just can't imagine that game just not
like no freaking joke. They added a good chunk. They actually added new missions. They added side missions to doing this. So there is new content that the original game didn't have within it. So on top of that, like they did things that I can't remember. Like a place you could walk up in a room and see bodies, and if you're shooting and things like that, you will actually hear your heartbeat like fluttering faster and faster and things like that. And you will see phobias when a light goes out and whatnot. Your mind starts to mess with you, and the camera will shake and things like that. And it'll kind of fade to black because your vision.
If any dev wants to send somebody a copy, I'm more than willing to take it.
Like hands down, like I applaud EA for that one because like typically
That's awesome.
EA's had a rap as of late because we know that they've had some downhill moments, but this one was
Okay,
like
now
Is
they're
it a
not giving
first
me a
party
copy.
with
Thanks,
EA, or did
Kyle.
somebody else
I'm
make
just
it?
kidding. No, this is a EA published. I can't remember. Let me go ahead because I know I was looking at it, but the
Because usually
like
they're just the publisher. Yeah.
yeah, no, they are the publisher. The Visceral Motive Studio,
Yeah,
okay.
Motive killed it. You guys, you
good.
deserve all the praise for one of the better remakes that I've seen come out. And
Well, you know what, Kyle? That's probably motivation for them to continue doing it.
exactly,
Wink,
and
wink.
no joke, I'm like because of and I'm like I said, I've only played like 30 minutes of it.
Mhm.
I 100% want them to do this for Dead Space 2.
Nice.
That like
Yeah.
and they should get like wholeheartedly the go ahead to do that one because
They
Dead
probably
Space
will.
2 was an amazing game as
It
well.
was
And
that
that one will make me
series.
shit myself as well.
Yeah, Emily, who used to be on the show a long time ago when we first started, that is without a doubt. I don't know if it is now, but it was for the longest her favorite series. And when we first started the original version of the show, I think we had almost a entire episode of her talking about
Nice.
that game. So, I
It's
remember.
worth it.
I remember like playing through the original, just being because there at the time though. This is something Mike and I discussed while we were playing Fortnite. And we're about to roll into our Fortnite discussion. We were discussing it like back when the original game came out. There was just a handful of scary games at the time. I mean, you would get maybe one or two a year. You would get the Resident Evils, the Silent Hills, the Fracture. What's it called?
Butthole. I'm just kidding. That's not it.
Fatal Frame.
The photo, whatever. Yeah,
Fatal
that
Frame.
one.
Yeah.
Fatal Frame, and you would get like one or two, maybe three.
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, yeah. In a year, though, that would be it. Now, because of the PC market and whatnot, you're getting probably one or two a month, like scary games. Not all of them are good, but I mean, it is almost like the movie industry on that.
Right.
It is definitely its own genre within gaming, and
those new ones have ongoing like DLCs that they put into it.
Oh yeah, and you know, and I think the now that we have, you know, streaming is so big. A lot of the streamers do horror games, so it is kind of cool though that we're getting into what I feel is we're about to hit a peak in these games, and I'm really excited to see what's coming because we're nowhere near. We're getting there, but we're not right at that point to where it's you know, almost too scary. But we'll get there.
Well,
we're almost there.
Take those games and then add VR to it, and then
but VR, to me though, and I have played
depends on the VR game.
Yeah, and also the fidelity of the VR, and I'm kind of like Kyle. I don't really get scared very often. It takes a lot for me to get scared.
VR though is right in your face, not against a monitor.
Even then,
yes,
I've played a lot of those, and they just don't. Because to me, it's still not real.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
The big thing about VR versus, you know, console or PC gaming, I will say is yes, it is in your face, Mike. But some of the VR games are clunky.
Yeah, it's just they're not real enough.
They like VR hasn't had as much time as consoles had in terms of their building system. So
once they get that fidelity, once they get that fidelity to where it looks like you're really in downtown Victorian England and there's a fucking monster on your tail. Once it gets to that level, by the way, we have a Victorian werewolf monster VR game coming out for Fathergamer Studios now. Once it gets to that level, but like I said,
it has potential.
Trademark pending.
It does. The fidelity is just not quite there yet.
Yeah,
but if you're already at that level where bumps and because honestly, if you really look at a lot of those games, it's the same thing with film that scares a lot of people. It's the jump scare. It's the
fear of the unknown.
It's the fear of the unknown. It's the boo.
Phobias.
Yeah, yep. It's the sound a lot of times that gets them, not the actual like
thing. So
like, anyway,
it has potential.
Let's move on to another scary game, Fortnite. So Mike and I, we started the new season. It's not new now, but I mean it's fairly new. The new season / new chapter of Fortnite,
aka the glitch.
It's crazy, by the way, and we have mentioned this before on the show. It is absolutely crazy that one of the prettiest games on the PlayStation 5 is Fortnite. I still don't understand that, but I'll take it. The dynamic lighting, like we said before, is amazing. Like, you'll go through this forest that has all of these trees, and the light and the shadow is just perfect. It's going through each individual leaf on the tree, and it's like autumn, like that red, orange, multicolored thing going on, and there's piles of leaves and leaves falling from the trees, and you'll look up and you can see through the foliage like the light going through the leaves like it really does in real life. And Mike and I, like, I'll be in the back of a motorcycle and Mike's driving, and I'm just like, oh my God, that is beautiful. Like, the sun is coming through. It's sunset. It's got this amber glow everywhere. And oh my God, we just got blown up by a rocket. Like, it's just absolutely crazy that it's so beautiful now. This chapter, they went in and they overhauled the map. They changed everything around, made it fantastically beautiful. Unfortunately, I will have to say this is probably the most glitchy season they have had in a very long time. Like, heartbreakingly glitchy for us, to the point that Mike and I have gone, you know what? Let's call it tonight. Like, we've had those nights where it's just not fun because we've died because of some glitch that's gone on. Like, last night we were playing and my character, I couldn't see him anymore. It was just a floating gun. It was funny, but it was like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I will admit it was easy to see people. And there's so many new things they introduced that are fantastic. Like, they introduced the new what's the thing that we can choose,
the augments.
The augments, yeah, they added augments. Kyle, they let you every so
use
often.
Cocaine.
Huh?
They let you use cocaine.
Yes, cocaine. But no, the augments through the game, they'll give you a couple choices each time they pop up. I don't know what the time frame is, or I really don't know what trips it. I think it's time.
I think it's timed, yeah.
You get an option of 2 random augments every so often throughout the match. And they stack up to, I think, 5 augments or
it's
something
4
like
or 5, yeah.
But yeah. And they have everything from, like, the best way I could describe it is like a Hulk jump. You can, like, jump really high. You have
the sprint bounce, yeah.
Yeah, sprint bounce. You have, which is fantastic. You have you get balloons and you can go up into the sky, which I haven't gotten that one in a long time.
It's been a while. Yeah,
I think they might have gotten rid of it. They have it where you can see where the next circle is going to be. They have one where anytime you jump in a vehicle, automatically it has the big wheels and the
cow catcher.
The cow catcher in the front and stuff. Like, it's great, by the way, when you pop that when somebody's driving, and as long as you're in the vehicle, all of a sudden the tires get big and you get the cow catcher just on it.
And you hear this ka-thunk.
Yeah, it's really good. Can you kind of breathe a sigh of relief? It's like all of a sudden my car is armored.
You're like, I know that sounds so well.
Those are great. They added this hawk. It almost reminds me of Rainbow Six, something like that, where it's basically a drone, but it's a hawk. You can send it out, and you can scout around, and you can even ping people. So you can go to like, okay, there's a bush off in the distance, and you can send off the thing. That's not an augment, but that's something you could find. They added Insta bushes. We just found.
Yeah, they
which
just did. Yeah.
Kyle scared the fuck out of me. I thought Groot just exploded.
Kyle, you mean
you
me?
Throw it, and a giant bush will explode.
Yeah, it was Mike.
And he threw it against the wall as I was getting shot at, and all of a sudden this tree was inside the house. And I thought, I for a minute, I thought can you knock over trees now? Like, I didn't know what the fuck happened. So like I said, it is the new map. I love the layout. It is gorgeous. It is fun to play when it's working. That's the problem. It is so fucking buggy. It is so weirdly buggy that when you go back into photo mode and go to rewatch, when you jump out of the bus, whatever animation, whatever like thing you were doing, emote you're doing before your character gets teleported onto the battle bus, that's what they do as they jump out of the bus now.
Nice.
You won't see it during regular gameplay. You have to go back to the replay.
But you go into photo mode, and like if you're doing, because they added Metallica, Metallica song, it's great, but and people can join in. Like somebody can be the drums, somebody can be the guitars, that kind of thing. But if you're doing that as it pulls you into the battle bus, when you exit out in photo mode, you're still doing it all the way down.
Yeah, I want to say it's Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets. It's funny as fuck, but it's like
that's honestly badass as shit.
Yeah,
it's indicative of the problems with the season, and it's
play Master of Puppets.
As you're falling down, yeah, it's great.
Like getting ready to murder people.
Oh, it's great when you're like, if you got it in photo mode though, I will admit it's really funny when you're doing it and you're like either drums or guitar, and you're just floating down.
Your glider
to earth.
Comes popping out.
Yeah, and usually inside of you, whatever your glider is. It's so fucked up though,
because it's attached to your hands, and so it's like flailing around inside you.
I've had a lot of issues with just random drops. I don't know. I'm just very disappointed with that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that
they'll fix it.
Yeah, I know I went back and looked.
A month or so until it's done.
When they do a new chapter, every time they do a new chapter, though, if you go back and look, there is issues for that first season.
Yeah.
So I do understand that, but at the same time, everyone around there is probably paying something to be there, and so they need to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really asked. We've been playing with a friend every weekend. I haven't really asked. He plays on the PlayStation 4 if he's having quite as many issues as we are.
I would say he's probably having the same amount.
Okay.
But
I don't
really
know. I would be interested, anyone listening, if you have an answer to at least, are you having issues? I would like to know. Just let us know at one of our socials,
or just play Master Puppets and murder people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after it's basically because of Stranger Things that kids even know what that song is right now. I heard an interview with Metallica a few months ago where they were like, we really held all of our songs really close to our hearts and wouldn't let anybody use them for anything. And then we were like, why are we doing this? AKA, we need money. And if you've looked recently,
those royalties.
They're using frickin' Metallica songs on like Dorito commercials now. I mean, they literally were like, fuck it. Like that's what happened, and so it's great. And they also got a little bit of swing from Stranger Things, so they were like, Anyway, well, that's enough for what's in your system. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back, and we'll talk about more fandom. We'll be right back. And we're back. We're going to do a little bit of news and then continue on to a few more things like comics and whatnot. So, just a few things this episode. The first one is there's a report going around that PS1, PS2, and even the elusive PS3 games are going to pop up on Steam. That is interesting, including like Metal Gear and a few other games. So, what do you guys think about that?
I think it'd be awesome.
I mean, obviously, it if you think about it, so Microsoft has been for a long time. It's just like, okay, our games can be on PC and Xbox. I don't have any problem with it. They're barely doing anything with their PS1, PS2, and PS3 games, so I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean, it makes sense.
I think it'd be good for them. Like, get some sales based on old classics that were phenomenal.
Well, the question though too is, are we finally kind of incrementally getting to that thing that we've been hearing from the PC master race for a very long time of, why are you playing a console? Well, we've got these console exclusives you can't get on. Oh, shit. I mean, the fact that almost every PlayStation exclusive is going to be on PC at some point now. Xbox does it.
I think the big thing with it is, sorry if I interrupted you there, is the fact that these games have been out for so long now. If people already hadn't played them, it's not the end of the world kind of what they're looking at.
Well, PS1 games are emulated so hardcore. It's like,
they're emulated. Two, those classic consoles are becoming harder and harder to find.
Exactly.
As they're going out. And that'd be the only way to play those. So to keep those treasures rolling, throw those bad boys on consoles and PC. You throw them on your platforms and ride the train.
Huge proponent, though, of making sure we keep those games like somewhere. Like the ability to, just like a good book or a good movie or whatever, the ability to go back and look at these things, and they're somebody's art at some point, and
exactly
they should be held somewhere that we can have access to them. And there's so many games that a lot of people don't realize how hard it is to find. There's a lot of games, PS1, PS2 era, that are impossible to find.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
and when you do, it's super expensive.
Yep,
exactly.
I was gonna say that too.
And even trying to find, I'll admit it, pirated versions of some games is almost impossible. Some early JRPGs, it's crazy impossible. So I really hope, maybe because the PC market really loves stuff like that maybe that'll spur on the ability to possibly get some of the harder to find older games. I don't know. That would be my want for this, because if they're going to put it on there, well, it's already coming out. They might as well put it on console as well.
Because
the instant thing is to think it's going from console to PC, but in reality, a lot of games are made PC to console. So, anyway, I thought it was an interesting topic. I thought it was an interesting thing that it's doing that, and I think it's a very long overdue choice by Sony. So there is gameplay that has been leaked from Guerrilla Games, the makers of the Horizon series. Apparently, they have a new direction for the franchise that possibly might be coming at some point to us. It's a multiplayer game set in the Horizon universe. So I'm interested. That would be very interesting.
Pretty cool.
Again, beautiful games, really fun to play, lots of exploration. Just kind of wonder what the gameplay would be like. Is it, team based? Is it survival based? Is it like, is everybody going against a giant, bunch of angry mechanical dinosaurs, or are the people angry dinosaurs against the... I mean, I'm really curious. Is it going to be like Ark? Which, please God, somebody make a better version of Ark.
I mean, Ark 2 is coming out at some point.
I just never could get into Ark, but I like the idea of Ark. Does that make sense? There's a lot of people that love Ark. I could never freaking get into it. There was just something about it that I just never clicked with me. But I love the idea of that. Like, I would love to jump in a world like that with you guys and just try to build my own community, essentially. That would be great. Sad, but expected news. Doom Patrol and Titans are ending after these seasons for both of them, the newest seasons.
Do you know if they're leaving the actual...
It does not say that they're leaving.
Okay.
I, at this point, have no fucking clue with Warner.
Because I really need to catch up on that, just in case.
I'm not really shocked, because it seems like Warner is the new Warner Discovery is they're having a hard time with very expensive scripted shows. I'm really very worried, like a lot of people are. The only thing that is making any of us comic book DC fans a little less nervous is the putting Gunn in charge of pretty much all of DC entertainment. In case listeners don't know, they have made James Gunn and I forget his name. He's the other guy's producer.
Walt Disney. I'm just kidding. It's not him.
Yes. They've made them in charge of DC entertainment, specifically like the movies and stuff. And I'm very curious to see what they're going to do. But with Warner already canceling everything, and after this season, The Flash is ending. And as a shortened season, the Arrowverse is essentially dead. Which is really...
You were looking for Peter Safran.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I'm always looking for Saffron. I was talking to my wife today, actually, when I was putting this stuff together, and we have been talking about the Arrowverse since it began on this show. And I have dropped off from watching it on a regular basis. I usually catch up after, like, in the summer.
Seasons.
Yeah, like I'll sit and binge, and that's probably where stuff like that needs to go anyway, is like on a streaming thing somewhere, and where you can watch it all at one go, or at least like set in a specific space and it has a slightly bigger budget. I loved The Flash. I adored the first several seasons of The Flash. I thought it was a fantastic show. It just was... It was charming. It was fun. It was comic book. It was a great representation of The Flash. And it was so much fun. And I really enjoyed other bits and pieces of the Arrowverse, the CW stuff. It's just... There was a dip in quality at some point that kind of hit all of the shows. And I don't really understand what it was, if it was just too thin. But I always felt like, well, they could continue. Like, they could kind of like add new shows and eventually they'll find their footing again. And they can bring on these characters like they've been doing and move them to other shows. Like, they put Constantine on one show and moved other characters around. And at one point, I think we had like 5 different series going on in the Arrowverse on CW. And now it's done. The only thing really around is going to be Superman and Lois. And it's a great show. But it feels like a different thing than the Arrowverse. It feels like it has a budget. It feels like you know what I mean? Like, you've watched it, right, Mike?
I've seen like the first season, maybe season and a half. I need to go back and rewatch it all.
At moments, it really dips into that CW almost that teen melodrama bullshit. It'll dip into that, but then all of a sudden we'll get a very extremely comic book version of Superman that is just fantastic, that I've been waiting forever to see, and I absolutely love his Clark. Like, it's just great. But I digress. Doom Patrol, I'm pouring one out for that. I love the weirdness of that show. Titans, it got better.
Titans got better.
It got better.
I never had a problem with it. Although I don't think I've seen past season 1, so.
Yeah, it got better after season 1. And we did get an on-screen Bruce Wayne for TV, which was kind of interesting.
That's true. Yeah, we did.
And Doom Patrol, I am so glad that Brendan Fraser is back. And I really loved that show. It was so great. But anyway, let's move on.
I apologize if anybody listening hears the kids. I have my noise gate set, so hopefully you don't, but
they'll be loud. Buddy. Yeah, it's fine. I have dogs. So
I have Brooke.
Yeah. Throw a shoe at her.
Can't be done. Up.
We'll move on into a little bit of TV news. Not TV news, TV talk.
TFGP channel control.
Have you guys watched the at least the first episode of The Last of Us?
Oh, I've watched everything, 100%.
Okay,
yeah, can't wait for tomorrow.
I absolutely hate it. No, I
piece
love
of
it.
Shit game or piece of shit season series.
Exactly what I've been saying. I've been beating the drum for years that the best way that we can do these games is a TV series on something like HBO or somebody or Amazon, somebody that'll give it budget. And
it's phenomenal.
And be able to do it episodically.
Because gaming you cannot convert 20 hours of gameplay into 2-hour movie. It's just not possible.
Oh, it is possible. It's just a train wreck.
Don't tempt James Cameron.
Yeah. You can't convey all the emotions. You can't convey that ride. It's hard to do it in a book for a book. I can't imagine trying to make The Last of Us into a movie. It could be done. It could totally be done.
It would have to be like multiple movies, though.
Yeah, it would be way better to be multiple movies. And so at that point, and nowadays, usually a season of a show like this is like a budget of a movie back in like a AAA movie back in 1999, 2000 was about 20-30 million. That's now you're looking at like 100 million for a season of a TV show like The Mandalorian. So, right. I mean, there's no way in hell this show isn't shot on that kind of budget. That it's just phenomenally filmed. It's artfully filmed. I was very worried that we would have a lot of samesies with The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a little bit, but it's definitely better than the last several seasons of The Walking Dead.
Oh, without a doubt.
But
I stopped
it
watching.
is its own beast unto itself. Yeah. And I do really appreciate the fact that they've given it the reverence that the fans that absolutely love this game series, that have played the first game probably 50 times and can quote it like somebody quoting their favorite movie. And it's just, it is just a beautiful, beautiful TV series so far.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
That first episode, though, was a fucking movie. Like, it was...
It was.
Like
an hour and 27 minutes.
It's like hour and a half.
Yep.
And I like...
But that's with credits, so...
I really hope that continues, though, like what we've been seeing with streaming movies and TV series, or specifically TV series, that they go, it's done when it's done, the episode. Disney's a good example with a lot of their shows, is one episode will be 35 minutes and the next episode will be an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. Like, it's whatever. I mean, they've never done an hour and a half, but I mean, they've done like 35 minutes and 55 minutes the next episode. And you're just like, what? Like, you could do whatever. Yeah. As long as at the end of the day, they probably look at the books and go, okay, as long as you don't go over 100 million for the entire season, we don't care. And so, yeah.
I mean, all I'm going to say, 2 episodes in, already got renewed for season 2.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah. That is one of those things, though. Warner, it's probably one of the biggest things they have right now. So they know it. That in the Game of Thrones prequel, which was great too. I did enjoy that.
I still need to finish that.
It's good. It's really,
good
really
too.
Good. It's a lot of big ass budget on that one as well.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I am very curious to see where they're going with this. The fact that Warner is pushing HBO again. Like that's where they want people to go, to the HBO channel. Like, they're pushing people that way. I'm very curious as to their thinking on that. But that aside, we will be talking more about the series. I don't want to get too detailed into it. I kind of want to give it
a couple more episodes.
In, and we'll have a
pretty good understanding.
A very lengthy discussion of that, and we'll even do a spoiler cast of it if you guys are up for it. Like, let's give it one more episode, and then we'll do either at the end of one of these episodes or a standalone episode. We'll do
at least 4.
I do want to mention one thing concerning the show. At the end of the episode, the last episode, they did go into detail and mention that they had gone through multiple clicker designs. And they ended up going back to the original design because it was the best form for what they need. So the clickers in the episode are exactly the same model as the original game.
Yeah, they are,
like it should be.
A 1-for-1 copy.
That is so good. This is my cheat sheet on how to properly make an adaptation of a video game. Either A, do it like this, where it's long form series, be true to the story and keep it as close to the original, but just add more depth, more extra stuff on the side. But keep everything pretty much pristine. The people that love it will love that. The people that have never seen it will love it because it's already been proven. It's already proven that it's a great story.
Yeah.
Then on the other side, if you're not going to do that, then do the Pokemon, the Detective Pikachu route. Take the world that's already a living, breathing world and put new characters and situations in that world. Don't try to change an already existing story to the point that it's not even
no longer the
recognizable.
same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, at that point, why not just do what I just said? Just do something different with new characters.
Yeah.
It's sort of like what I'm hearing, and this is a little different, but what I'm hearing about the Dungeons and Dragons movie that's coming out, there was a lot of people that were like, "Hey, the 40th anniversary of the animated series is happening. Why didn't y'all just do like a version of the animated series?"
Right.
And they were like, but from what I understand, there are characters that were in the animated series that are in the movie, like that pop up. So that's fine. Give a little bit of that fan service if you're doing like the Detective Pikachu thing. Have like, my friend Professor Oak. Do that kind of like, for the big fans. But I don't know. I just get so tired of like creating something that doesn't need to be created new. I don't know. But anyway, we'll have more discussion on that in future episodes. I just want to touch base on one more thing, TV show wise, because we got to kind of get wrapped up in a second. Jack Ryan, enjoyed it. Of the 3 seasons, not my favorite season. It's over on Amazon, but I did enjoy it, and it did get picked up for a 4th season.
Nice.
It's funny though. I think it's Michael Pena from Ant-Man. He was supposed to be. I think it's him. I'm pretty sure was supposed to be in this episode. The last episode of this season, and his the entire part got cut out of the episode.
Interesting,
but his character is getting a spin-off series. So there's a spin-off series of a character for this show that nobody's actually seen the character yet. So I thought
they'll probably bring it into season 4.
He will be in the next season before the spin-off thing. Because from what I understand, this 4th season will probably be the last season. Especially with Krasinski, such a hot commodity right now, and possibly being Mr. Fantastic again, and
he better
he's a director and all that kind of stuff. So there's no telling.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on one other thing. We're gonna save the today's my anniversary, so can't make this quite as long as we were going to. Normally, we're going to do a new segment where I talk about things that have happened in my crazy career, but we'll do that next episode. Instead, we're going to end on a discussion, and we'll talk more about the comics later, but we have one specific comic that I wanted to talk about.
Talk nerdy to me.
The first issue of the continuation, and it's a prequel/sequel of The Last Ronin, which was a comic book that came out in 2020. The original creators of the Turtles comics kind of made I don't want to call it swan song, but they haven't done a comic together in a very long time, and they decided to make one that was set in the future where all but one of the turtles have met their end. And I don't want to give away who the turtle is right this second, but it's a badass comic. It is really cool. I enjoyed that ride. It was just flat out one of my favorite comics of that year of any time. And then I heard that there was a like I said, a prequel/sequel coming out. A little worried about the whole like lightning in a bottle kind of thing. They did a very, 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 very good job capturing the spirit of the first story. It expands upon. I will say this is a little bit of a spoiler, but this is kind of hitting the web already. At the end of the Last Ronin comic, keep in mind this is probably 40 years, not 40 years, maybe 30. So I don't know. The Turtles would have been like in their 50s, I think, or something like that.
Probably thereabout, yeah.
There's 4 new turtles that are born. And literally at the very end, you get the whole Jurassic Park like eggs cracking kind of thing, and that's the end of the comic. And in the newest comic, they basically have a older Granny April and Casey and April's daughter Casey have become the sensei essentially to these new turtles. And it's very cute. It's very great to see. Not only are they different, they didn't just go, okay, we're having the same thing. I mean, they're definitely, each one kind of represents the old ones, but differently so. I love the fact that they gave them, like, one of them can change color, so that's a great ninja.
Which I'm guessing is the Leo character?
Kinda.
I think. Because he's the more, he's the more strict one.
One's a girl, and she's the one that has kind of the Michelangelo markings, but kind of yellow. Yeah. And she's kind of the Donatello one of the bunch. And they all kind of have things. There's one that's this big.
Oh, that's true.
Chunky.
She is Mikey and Donatello, yeah.
She's like, there's one, not she, but one of them's a big, chubby. And I've seen pics online of them older, so they're going to be doing things. You're going to see these turtles in the future, I guarantee you. But one of them is like always hungry, and it's almost like a tortoise, more
like
than
a tortoise or a snapping turtle style. Yeah,
he almost looks like Slash,
exactly,
from the original series, or not the guitarist, or Toka. Razor, whichever one was the one from Turtles 2. Yeah, he's just a bigger turtle. But anyway, it's really cute. It goes through the backstory, though. They're basically they're retelling from Splinter, and the Ronin character had written in Splinter's old journal as well, of the story that took place in between where the turtle left off. I mean, where the Ronin left off, where he went on his journey before he came back to New York. That started the Last Ronin comic. I'm trying not to spoil anything. It's really hard. But it is, at least for the first issue, it is a really, really good issue. Plus, if you're a comic book person, you know any issue number 1 with new characters that are probably going to be used a shit ton in the future, you probably want to have. Even though I will say this, if you're going into comics right now for financial gain, don't do that. Just don't do it. It's this market goes up and down so much. But as a collectible, the collectability in getting this one is pretty cool too. Like, it is really cool to know that these characters, I think, are going to be around for a long time,
a while, yeah.
And I do like Granny April. It's just funny. Bionic armed Granny April.
I didn't even notice that yet.
Yeah, that is something to discuss in the Last Ronin. So you'll have to go back and
I'll definitely
read that at some point. Yeah. But it is a really great comic. I suggest going out and trying to get yourself a copy of the Last Ronin, people, because it is really good. I guarantee you, though, you're gonna be able to find a copy of the
new one.
The new one, because there are literally 30 different covers. I sent Mike a list of all the different variant covers. This is IDW's biggest series ever.
Yeah.
They won tons of awards. I think they've done like millions upon millions of prints of the first series, and it's just probably their biggest hit in a very long time. And I love IDW's run on Ninja Turtles. Like, they're on issue like in the 140s now of the Prime storyline, and these don't connect. Just FYI, these are not canonically existent in the same universe with the IDW's Turtles storyline. Again, if you like Ninja Turtles at all, I highly recommend going back and reading that series. It is very well done. It takes all the bits and pieces from all of Turtles stuff ever and kind of like shakes it up and puts all the good stuff together and throws it into this series. And now we're well beyond anything they've done before, and it's so good. But again, go pick it up. There's a lot of good comics. Support your local comic book shop if you've got one. We don't. Sucks in this town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great comics out right now. I'm reading a crap ton. So go out and pick it up. Also, if you can, go out and pick up the new Spider-Man comic. And there is a Spider-Man cross series going on called Dark Web. It's going across like 5 different comics right now, including one very funny X-Men crossover. The bad guy magically makes these puppies that are dangled like cute puppies on a mobile, like over a bassinet or a crib or whatever. It's live puppies that are on like a mobile, and they put it on top of Cyclops' head so he won't open his eyes. He can hear the cute puppies, and he's scared to death if he opens his eyes. He'll kill the puppies. It's fucking hilarious. So they did it. They did a huge storyline where the clone of Jean Grey and the clone of Spider-Man basically wreak havoc in New York. And we'll discuss it. The series, the mini series is ending next week, and so I can discuss it the entire thing next week. Cool. So, if you like us talking about comics, let us know. We're also going to mention stuff about everything from action figures to, because I'm doing a ton of custom stuff now, and I would love to work on like community projects. With anyone listening, like we can come up with like a theme or whatnot. So anyway, I love doing this episode with you guys. I've got to get going. It's our anniversary. And do you guys have anything else y'all want to add to this episode?
Maybe our socials.
Yep, of course.
Well, yeah. And I probably will definitely start to stream that Dead Space game for everyone who wants to join.
I was just about to mention, you were saying you were gonna do that. Where is your streaming?
It is on Twitch. It is Waffle Daddy 25.
Awesome sauce.
Get scared together.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put links on there, and maybe you can. We'll start doing some kind of streaming thing all together and figuring out some kind of schedule.
Yep.
Because we're in the middle of moving things around again. I'm having to move rooms, and then we're going to move to a different place soon. But as soon as we get settled, I'm going to start streaming again, and we'll kind of figure all that stuff out. I need a new area anyway to contain all of my diorama stuff. Like, dude, I was just like, I'm gonna make a little diorama thing. Y'all remember that? It was like I made a tiny little thing, and next thing I know, I'm building a freaking Turtles lair, like with 2 levels and working lights, and I've done things with styrofoam that I'm just like, holy shit, it's kind of cool. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Lots of stuff to talk about. So much fandom. We are living in a golden age of fandom. So make sure you stay with us and hit our socials. I'm at Fathergamer everywhere but Twitter, and that's at
Real Eric
Gibbs. Yeah. And Mike's at Silverhawks, no vowels on everything social. So that's at Silverhawks, no vowels. And then Kyle is at your mama. No, where is Kyle?
It's Twitter at Waffle Daddy 25.
Yep. And are you that anywhere else other than
that and Twitch?
Okay. Hey, that's a step for you, buddy.
It is. It is.
So, everybody, thank you for listening. We would love feedback. We would love to talk with you. We know you're out there. We know you're listening. So, let us know. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will do so. Keep a lookout for upcoming streams and whatnot on our socials. And as always, go out there, achieve greatness. Be nice. Be nice right now. It's a lot of mean shit going on. So just be nice to people.
But that's too much work.
No, we need to be nice because after the last couple years, I think people have forgotten how to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time to practice our good social skills again, people.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Have a fantastic week.